You know, Michael, your credibility is being questioned. Trump says the book is full of lies, misrepresentation.
Let's remember,
let me finish, please.
Who my credibility is being questioned by.
New York Times, Maggie Haberman, New York Times, John Martin, David Brooks, CNN's Alison Camerata, Tony Blair, Tom Barrack, Kate Walsh, Anna Wintour, all denying quotes. Washington Post reporter Mark Berman was in the Four Seasons the same time as Ivanka Trump. You admitted to mixing up Mark with Mike Berman. Trump needed the Constitution explained to him. His advisor, Stan Nunberg, has fabricated stories in the past. This goes on and on. The age of the White House communications director. There are a lot of factual errors in here. So I want to know from you is, what do you say to the people?
I regret mixing up Mike Berman and Mark Berman. The Berman brothers are have my apologies.
You know, I think this hits us. I read your book, and I think this hits a special place for me because my family has been the subject of a book like this, Game Change. And Game Change was written, ironically, people like Anna were asked, and thank you for not giving interviews to those guys. A lot of disgruntled staffers give, what traditionally in situations like this, it's the disgruntled staffers who aren't loyal to their principal that give interviews like this. So I'm curious, when you talk about staff, you didn't talk to his cabinet. Did you ever interview Jared and Ivanka? And how can I trust some of these quotes when, again, Tony Blair, Tom Barrack, Kate Walsh, Anna Wintour, all these people are denying these quotes and stories attributed to them?
I think you have to look at also the other people who are not denying, and actually the great number of people, you know, and there were, I mean, there was initially there was people questioned. Begins with a dinner with Roger Ailes and Steve Bannon.
Was that off the record?
And people were, that's a good question, but people questioned this and they said, how could I know this? And there is no I in this book. I don't appear in this book for a very specific reason, because it's not about me. It is about other people's impressions of Donald Trump. So anyway, this dinner was questioned, and then it came out because somebody who was at the dinner pointed out, oh, this dinner was actually at my house, that's how I know exactly what happened there. So when you write a book like this, and this is a particular kind of book. I mean, the New York Times is going into some amount of apoplexy about this because, I mean, probably because I kind of scooped them. You know, we're all journalists, and this is what we do. But I want to say that there is room. There's room. Daily reporters do a specific job, and book writers do a specific job. My goal was not to give the explosive things that happen every day in this administration and therefore make you forget what happens the day before, but to give this longer view, to put some context, to put everyone, in the seat that I sat on in the West Wing, to see this administration from that point of view, to see the forest for the trees.
I'm not saying that they aren't idiots for honestly letting you around and giving you that kind of access, because quite frankly, had you invited me to your house at any point before this book, I would have said, hell no, of course not. I don't go to journalists' house and start dishing about anything private in the political circles I'm in. I'm just confused. Were you friends with Steve Bannon and Roger Ailes beforehand, and you were like, come to my house for an off-the-record dinner, and then you reported on it? Or was it on the record?
Yes, no, fair question, and I'll tell you what happened. This was actually an off-the-record dinner, but two things happened.
That's why people hate journalists, by the way. It's why I don't believe in the concept of off-the-record, this right here.
Okay, so...
yes, I would always be careful about that. But at any rate, two things happened on that dinner. Roger Ailes died, and...
Not at the dinner. Because you said two things happened at that dinner. He didn't die at the dinner. Just saying.
The food
or the company.
The food was very good. I cooked the food. It was good. With Roger Ailes' death, it seemed to me that off the record died with the death of the source. That's number one. Still, Steve Bannon understood it was off the record, but not long after Roger died, Steve said to me, "You're going to put that on the record, aren't you? You're going to use that. That was history." I took.
Steve Bannon has not. But Steve Bannon has not denied one thing in the book. Am I right?
Well, he did try to clarify the part about where he said that
it's just crazy. I mean,
that Baby Dawn was going to crack on national TV like an egg.
Yeah.
He said he wasn't talking about Baby Donnie. He was talking about Manafort.
Manafort.
Was
All-
he talking about who was he talking about?
Oh, he said he was going to crack like an egg. He said he did not. He said Fredo was going to crack like an egg.
Yeah.
This was.
You know,
this
that's
was,
the dumb brother, the dumb younger brother, and the Godfather. In case you guys don't get the joke.
Yeah,
So-
he was. Steve Bannon had no illusions about Donald Trump's children. Believe me.
But you know, interestingly, I read where you thought that this might bring down the Trump White House. In a way, I think he's benefiting from this.
How?
Because he went with a tug of war against Steve Bannon, and he won. The base stuck with him. Yesterday,
But you guys were just talking about how the base is going to turn on him because of immigration.
and he's willing to take the heat. But he's already won against the Steve Bannon. Look, Steve Bannon made Donald Trump endorse the, wacko in Alabama,
Yeah.
the pedophile in Alabama. Steve Bannon made Trump into a nativist, anti-globalist.
1 second,
Yesterday, he
Michael,
announced he's
can
going
you
to
stay for
Davos.
another segment?
Hold on.
Can you
Hold
stay?
on 1 second.
I don't think so.
Yeah, he can't.
He's got another
He's got
interview to
another
do.
gig. Which is what we
Oh,
know.
who cares about them? Just stay.